Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from anywhere you're watching me from any parts of the world. How are you today? How is the Sunday going at your hand? Thank you so much for joining us on this program today. My name is Oludunsin Arodudu, the host of the Today's Women's Discovery Talk Show. A shout out to Sister Francois Janelle. Thank you so much, sis. I can see you on board. You said I'm sitting on the first bench. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for being on time. Our program, the title of our program today is The Anatomy of Depression. And coming on the talk show with me today is Dr. Oludunsin Arodudu, my husband. let me say it with pride now. My husband, my darling husband. So we are going to be talking about the anatomy of depression today. And before we get onto the program, the first two adverts we made are our sponsor on the Today's Women's Discovery Talk Show. That's Ada Creations and Ecotecture. So if you want to get, Ada Creations is a international publishing and media company, and their core niche is publishing books and designing t-shirts with power inscriptions. So if you want your t-shirt from any parts of the world, either in Nigeria or Europe or US, just visit the website www.adacreations.com. And if you want to get your classy furniture in Nigeria or even in any parts of the world, just the advert was played. We're going to play it when we are getting into the show, or almost at the end of the show. We're going to play it again, and you get to see the WhatsApp number. So, Mark Cordelia Ayao, thank you for coming on board, Ma, all the way from US. Thank you. My sister Janelle is from Germany. Thank you. Today's Women's Discovery Talk Show has gone all over the world. Oh, we give God all the glory. Sister Anna, thank you for coming on board. Please help me share. As you're coming on board, just share the video because it's going to be a mind-blowing session. And as it is, we might not even be able to finish the session today, but this particular part one is going to be mind-blowing. It's like we are organizing a masterclass per se. So get your biro, get your pen, and just write as you gain insight in the talk show. So let me bring before I bring our guests on the show, let me first read his bio. So Dr. Oludunsin is a recognized future research leader in areas of energy transitions, industrial ecology, landscape ecology, sustainability, sustainable development, life cycle sustainability assessment tools, approaches, and frameworks. His work has been cited more than 200 times in literatures. So we're a family of writers. So one is a researcher and one is an inspirational writer. Thank you, Jesus. He has conducted sustainability research across local, regional, national, and global scales in Nigeria, Netherlands, Germany, and Ireland. He has published several in high-impact journals and has presented his work orally across Europe, North America, Africa, and Australia. He has further demonstrated global leadership potentials through his receipt of several awards, fellowships, and grants, amongst which are the Young Scientist Summer Program Fellowship of the International Institute for Applied System Analysis, EU Marie Curie, known as CASO. Full meaning is Careers in Sustainability Excellence. He has also gotten an award with the award titled Top 30 Under 30, Wall of the International Association of Impact Assessment. He has also gotten an award in Yale Sustainability Leadership Forum Scholarship, Foreign Scholar Travel Award, US IALE Travel Award, and the NASA MSU Award of the International Association of Landscape Ecology, abbreviated as IALE, ETC. We can't complete this bio today, so let's just let's just stop it at that. Dr. Oludunsin is a former grant holder of the prestigious AXA Research Fund Future Research Leader in Energy Transition Fellowship. Is currently a board member of the Life Cycle Sustainability Assessment section of the International Society for Industrial Ecology. He is an active member of the US and Africa chapter of the International Association of Landscape Ecology, IALE. He's also a director and board member of several companies and organizations in Nigeria, including Lime Capital Development, Associates Other Creations Nigeria Limited, that's Other Creations, where I'm the creative director, the Mountain Eagle Network, Zion Gate Initiative, and the International Center for Systems Thinking, Integrative Knowledge, and Sustainability in Africa. We had to, cut down the bio so that we do not take too much time. So let's go straight to the business of the day. I'm going to bring on Dr. Oludunsin now. Then, we'll start the topic, the anatomy of depression.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Dr. Oludunsin. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm blessed. Thanks for inviting me.
Let me put on this. Okay. Yeah. How are you this afternoon, Dr. Oludunsin?
I'm fine. I'm blessed. Thanks for inviting me to the platform.
Thank you so much. We are so glad to have you as the first male guest on the Today's Woman's Discovery Talk Show. We are so excited to have you on board, and I know that you are going to do justice to this topic, the anatomy of depression, today by the grace of God. So without wasting much of the time, I'm going to step out of the scene now and just allow you to do your thing. Because normally how we run the talk show is that we give questions and the guest would answer the questions accordingly. But this is a different topic entirely, knowing fully well that depression is one of those things that a lot of people are battling with all over the world. The rich, the poor, the young, the old. It's like should I say a pandemic now? No, it's like an epidemic that has eaten into the system, of the human nature. And that is why we're having you on this program today to come and, shed some light on it for us. So I'm going to take myself off the screen now and just allow you to take over as you want. Thank you once again for coming on board. We are so excited to have you. Can you give us a smile, please?
Thanks
Can
for
you give us
me.
a smile?
Thanks for having me.
Let me get.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Well, I've been introduced already. I will like to go straight to the point. We'll be talking about depression. Well, I've been asked to actually I was asked to answer it along the lines of about 7 questions, which we will try to do justice today. If we can't finish today, we might need to have a second session to finish it. And the first question is the definition. What is the definition of depression from a scientific point of view? Well, depression appears in different streams of knowledge from a geographic or landform point of view, which is my background. Depression is a valley or a sunken or depressed area in comparison with its surroundings. But with regards to medical point of view, even though it's a little different, it's also points to the word depression, the word sinking, the characteristics of having a sink in feeling, so to speak. A sink in feeling, a sinking in feeling that you find it difficult to get out of. From a medical point of view, WebMD says it's a condition of at least 2 weeks, feeling of sadness, anxiety, and emptiness, or a feeling of hopelessness or pessimism. Sometimes it comes as a feeling of guilt, worthlessness, and helplessness, not enjoying things you used to enjoy, having troubles with concentration, memory, or making decisions. Some of the times it expresses itself in sleeping too much or sleeping too little. Some of the times it expresses itself as a change in appetite or weight loss or weight gain. From the medical point of view, some of the time it's also a feeling of restlessness or irritation. And some of the times it can go to the extreme and comes with thoughts of suicide or death. From another medical perspective, depression is a disorder. They define depression as a disorder affecting the mood or general outlook, a loss of interest in activities, of feeling bad and sad, and feeling sad and down are symptoms that characterize depression. Even though most people feel sad or down for brief periods, depression is a serious condition that makes it difficult for one to get out of that depressive state. It can cause lasting issues such as employment problems, strain of relationships, drug and alcohol abuse, and suicidal thoughts and attempts. It affects people from different races, different backgrounds, both the rich and the poor. And in this light, even though it's not yet been treated as a social problem, in actual fact, it's a social problem, phenomenon, and construct like poverty, same like poverty, like disease, like war, like crimes, like domestic violence, or gender discrimination, and it ought to be treated as such. It is found among people of different ages, and it's been around for ages before our forefathers came, and it's something that is transgenerational. It's something that can occur from generation to generation. It might differ in severity from low to medium to high, but there are there are symptoms that are actually standard symptoms to watch out for in determining if someone is depressed or not, or someone is battling with depression or not. Well, if I say someone is depressed, it might be momentarily and it might be for a brief period. But when it becomes the usual characteristics of the person, then you classify it as depression. Its common symptoms, once again, according to Healthline, which is a website for health information, basic health information, says its common symptoms are sadness, tiredness, trouble focusing or concentrating on happiness, anger, irritation, frustration, loss of interest in pleasurable or fun activities, sleep issues, too much or too little, no energy, craving unhealthy foods, anxiety, isolation, restlessness, worry, trouble thinking clearly or making decisions, poor performance at school or work, dropping out of activities, guilt, suicidal thoughts or tendencies, pains like headaches or muscle aches. Also, some of the times, these are some of the symptoms of depression. Also, drug or alcohol abuse is another symptom of depression. Some people also show signs of mania, psychotic episodes, and changes in motor abilities. This can signify other conditions that cause depression, like bipolar disorder. Having gone through the scientific perspective of what depression is and the different definitions according to different opinions from the medical world, we would like to look at the causes and triggers of depression in today's world. That's the second question. What are the causes and triggers of depression in today's world? This brings us to the anatomy of depression. It is rarely structurally studied as a social construct. But in actual fact, it's not only a medical condition, it's also a social problem, like I said, because it affects people of different ages, of different races, of different genders, it affects almost everybody, so to speak. So it's something that, like the host said, is an epidemic, and it should be seen as such. It should be tackled as such. I will attempt to do justice to this within my own knowledge and sphere. This actually brings us to the anatomy of depression, which will be treated from two perspectives. First, from the medical perspective, and then from a sociological perspective. From a medical perspective, it is believed to be either genetic, biochemical, hormonal, seasonal, or situational. From a genetic point of view, it is believed to be an inherited condition that can be passed by DNA from generation to generation. You may have a higher likelihood of experiencing a depressive disorder at some point in your life if you have a family member that had the same condition. The exact genes involved are not known, however. It is believed that many genes may play a factor in causing depression. With regards to next is biochemical. Some people have noticeable changes in their brain with depression. Even though this potential cause isn't understood, it does suggest depression starts with brain function. Some psychiatrists look at brain chemistry to try and find out what are the causes of depression and how it is being transmitted, how it actually operates in the brain, what happens in the brain when people go through depression. It is said that neurotransmitters in the brain, specifically serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, affects the feeling of happiness, pleasure, and may be out of balance in people with depression. Antidepressants work to balance these neurotransmitters, mainly serotonin. How and these neurotransmitters get out of balance and what role they play in depressive states isn't fully understood yet. So it's actually a situation or a condition that even people within the medical world are still trying to understand. The third medical perspective, is from an hormonal point of view. Changes in hormone production or function could lead to the onset of depressive states. Any changes in hormone states, including, this is especially for women, including menopause, childbirth, thyroid problems, and other disorders could cause depression. With postpartum depression, mothers develop symptoms of depression after giving birth. It's normal to be emotional because of the changing hormones, but postpartum depression is a serious condition. So from a medical point of view, another cause or trigger of depression is hormonal balance. The fourth is seasonal. As daylight hours get shorter in winter, many people develop feelings of lethargy, tiredness, and a loss of interest in everyday activities. This condition is called seasonal affective disorder. Now it's known as a major depressive disorder with seasonal pattern. Doctors usually prescribe medication or light box to help treat this condition. The conditions usually goes away once the days get longer. There is a fifth cause from a medical point of view. They describe it as situational. Trauma, it is called by trauma, big changes or struggle in life. Losing a loved one, being fired, having financial troubles, undergoing serious changes usually make big impact and some of the times leads to depression. That's it from a medical point of view. From a sociological point of view, like in nature, every social problem has different phases of evolution. This is usually called metamorphosis. Usually, one of the things are like even medical experts suggest one of the things we should realize about depression, that it's something that is capable of forming over time, that is capable of transmitting itself through the lifetime of we humans. There are things that materialize in our life suddenly. It seems sudden, but many of the times, some of the things we don't know is that some of these things have traveled through time. We often think we just arrive at a point where we get to certain condition or certain states. But many times, some of these things are culminations of events, series of events that has happened over time, that has transmitted through time. I'll give 2 quick examples to analyze the metamorphosis or the evolution of depression. Several years ago, my mom noticed she had a blurry vision. She was on vacation with one of my sisters, and they went for a scan to seek medical advice on it. And while the scan was going on, one of the things that the specialist noticed was that there were images from the scan that revealed that there was oil on a part of her eye, and this is indicative of the fact that several years before that, she had cooking oil spilled into her eyes while she was cooking. And so what was actually responsible for the blurry vision in future was the fact that oil spilled into her eyes several years ago, more than 10, 15 years before that. So what that medical condition is something that traveled through time. It did not affect the victim at the initial stages when the oil spilled, but several years later, it constituted a new condition. So also is depression. Some of the times it does not just happen, it crystallizes over a period of time. I also heard of somebody, an elder in the church in Nigeria, who narrated us a story of having, after in his 60s, he had some back pains, and he went to do a body scan to find out what was the cause of the back pain. And one of the things that the body scan revealed was that at some point in his life, when he was younger, he had a broken neck. And the cause of the broken neck was carrying too much of load. He used to sell firewood when he was younger. So he carried too much of load, and that resulted to him breaking his neck. But it did not constitute a medical condition until he was in his 60s. So also is depression. Some of the times it travels through our lifetimes. And one of the things we should realize that we are going to be seeing from this exposition is some of the things that lay the foundation for depression as a condition in us humans. So from a sociological point of view, we'll be looking at the foundational factors and primary preconditions that builds up, that forms depression, the condition called depression in us at certain points in our life. There are 4 major types of these conditions, of these preconditions, that usually sets the stage for depression. It's something there are things we don't have a control on, or we don't have a control of, because many of such conditions we are actually born into them. So it's not something that we can say, oh, how can we escape depression throughout our lifetime. We don't plan. It's not something we have control on. We don't. You don't plan to avoid it, so to speak. You only you can only start working on overcoming it if it occurs on the way. Well, there are certain things you can do as individuals or as because, like I said, some of these things grew up with us. Let me quickly move into talking about what I called the foundational factors that leads to eventual development or formation of depression. The first one is inequality. Well, that's the reason I said it's a social problem, because from looking at depression, it's not something you will look at from afar and say, okay, what caused the depression in the life of this person or in my life is because I've experienced inequality while I grew up. Let me define inequality. Inequality is disparity in the quality of life, unequal distribution of income, wealth, economic goods, and social necessities. This includes disparity on unequal distributions in wages earned, monies made, quality of education, nutrition, healthcare services, quality of shelter, clothing, and even means of ownership of means of transportation. This is a major cause, a major foundational factor that induces depression in the long run going into the future. When a child grows up and what he sees is that the quality of life he lives is different from the quality of life the other person lives, that the income available to him or to his family is different from that which is available to other people. Maybe others have more than theirs, or the means of transportation owned by his or her parents is different from that which others own. This is one of the foundational factors that triggers depression from the onset, but it's something that might not materialize until maybe the person is 20 or is 30 or is 40 or is 50. But at the onset, these are some of the things, basic causes, foundational causes of depression. The second one is deprivation. Deprivation is a damaging lack of access to material benefits concerned to be basic social necessities. It's very close to inequality. Some of these social necessities may also include good education, balanced diet, clothing, accessories, good shelter, and the rest. But the difference between inequality and deprivation is that inequality, those things are not within reach at all. The person in question is not exposed to those things by default because they are not just available. But in the case of deprivation, it is within reach, but it is denied to the person either by their parents, their siblings, their extended families, bosses, their governments, their leaders, either religious or political. So the difference between inequality and deprivation is inequality is a natural state of lack, so to speak, of insufficiency, of unequal distribution or disparity. But under derivation, it's not as if those things are not available, but you have been deprived of them by certain people that are known. Like I said, it might be your government, it might be your parents, it might be your siblings that prevented you from getting access to some of those things. Psychologically, these are some of the things that wire up humans and bring them to that sunken state of mind going forward. The third one, very quickly, is what I call dysfunctionality. It's defined as the abnormal or unhealthy interpersonal behaviors occasioned by family history of continuous and regular conflicts, misbehavior, neglect, or abuse. All of the three, one of the things we will notice is that all of the four foundational factors are interwoven and connected, even though they are not exactly the same thing. And growing up with these conditions, which I can tell no one is protected from, sets the tone for a future where one becomes susceptible to depression, if not disrupted at some point. Dysfunctionality often leads to members of such family accommodating such actions or regarding them as normal. Dysfunctional families and children often grow up around rape or around vices such as rape, sexual abuse, incest, child sodomy, child soldier in war situations, child abuse, mental abuse, parental feud, parental abuse, domestic violence, either verbal or physical, divorce, separation, polygamy, gangster lifestyle, street life, prostitution, drunk parents or siblings, sibling rivalry, competing parents, either in a monogamous or a polygamous environment, polygamous rivalry, war, famine, malnutrition, drug abuse, gun violence, and so on and so forth. So a dysfunctional family or a dysfunctional child grows up believing that some of these things are normal because that's the environment under which they grew up. These things are things that are tolerated amongst them. They usually grow up from a family history where there is continuous and regular conflicts, misbehaviors, neglect, and abuse. The fourth of this major cause of depression is adversity. Some of the times it's sudden, but it's usually a difficult and unpleasant situation. Even medical science admits that one of the causes or triggers of depression is that depression may be situational in nature, and then some of such adverse conditions may include loss of property, business liquidation, job losses, fire incidents, invasions, wars, famines, car, train, or air crash, boat, ferry, canoe, and ship mishap, natural disasters like earthquakes, landslides, tsunami, flooding, forest or farm fires, pest attacks, sudden death or incarceration of a spouse or parents, pregnancy, teenage or otherwise, marriage and family disintegration, separation or divorce, relocation, life-threatening chronic or terminal diseases and resulting disabilities or death from it, distress from violent activities such as rape, robbery, burglary, theft, gun violence, killings, assassination, murder or manslaughter, and well, this also exists in the Western hemisphere, animal cruelty incidences, and also other forms of adversity may be nemesis. Nemesis is saying the things that you've done, probably the things, wrongdoings coming back to you as a person. Like the law of karma says, and the Bible also assents to it, that what goes around comes around. So saying some of these things are some of the adverse conditions that often lays the foundations for depression. Also is robbery incidents, relational or business cheating, maybe being cheated out of a relationship or being cheated out of a business. Also pandemic, like COVID-19 pandemic and epidemic is also different, also forms of adversity that often lay foundation for depression or for a depressed life or depressed conditions.
Oh, okay, hold on, okay. Well done, Dr. Arodudu. Wow. you know, as you were talking about the causes of this depression from the foundation, just like, you know, these scriptures just kept coming into my head that when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? You know, you mentioned dysfunctionality, you mentioned adversity, you mentioned inequality, and you mentioned deprivation. You know, when children, when they go to school and they see their mates, you know, having some things that that they also desire, but they just, you know, they bottle these things in their hearts. And you see some people, when they now, you know, when they're able to, when they grow up and they're able to, you know, maybe afford those things for themselves, then it becomes excessive. You see them buying those things in droves. Maybe a child was denied of good clothes when the child was very young. When they become an adult, you see them having arrays of clothes in their wardrobe. So, you know, depression is indeed, let me bring the volume.
It releases a compulsive behavior in them in response to some of those things that they've gone through.
A compulsive.
And some of these things are actually symptoms of depression too. That they are trying to overcome by paying excessive attention to those things or spending a significant proportion of their resources to try to assuage those cravings that they've always had.
And you know, you also mentioned about people growing, you know, I've never thought of it like this before. Like people that grew up in a polygamous home where there's always conflict, there's always competition, there's always comparison, there's always envy and jealousy. So they grow up with this kind of nature, and when they just get out there, they feel that this is the normal way of life. Indeed, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? So I'm beginning to understand that depression is actually foundational. You know, there are things that happen right from our childhood, and when we grow up, those things start materializing in our lives. Well, thank you so much for how far you have gone. I just need to, you know, run some adverts now, then we'll come back on the show. And a big shout out to everyone present. Evelyn, I can see you. Amarachi, well done for dropping the comments. And we have 5 other viewers. Wow, I don't know who they are. I can't see their name in the comment section. But thank you for watching. Please share the video so that people can also benefit from this explosive session. Welcome back on the talk show. If you're just joining us, my name is Oludunsin Arodudu, the host of the Today's Women's Discovery talk show. And a big shout out to Other Creations, our sponsor. Anytime you see us on the talk show, we are being able to transmit live because of our sponsor, Other Creations, and also Ecotecture, that's a furnishing company in Nigeria. They're global, actually. I need you to go there to get your Valentine promo. There's a Valentine promo going on. And if you need classy furniture for your office and home space, Ecotecture is the company to contact. So back to the program of the day. Dr. Oludunsin, thank you so much for how far you have taken us. I know that we might not be able to complete this series today, but I like the way you started. You started from the roots. Let's keep building the crescendo just like that, until we hit it, poof, on top of the game. So well done. Let me take myself off the screen and let you do your thing.
So, thanks for listening. Still on the causes and triggers of depression. One of the things we should also realize is that certain people in certain conditions or with certain backgrounds are more susceptible to depression than the others. Quickly, I would like to run through risk factors and liabilities. While everyone is susceptible to it, according to Outline, there are a group of people that are more susceptible to depression. The first is being a woman. Well, this is because more women are diagnosed with depression than men. I believe these are one of the reasons for this is because of the many things women go through that some of the times men don't go through. One of it is hormonal balance, like I said earlier, as a result of menstrual cycle, pregnancy, and childbirth, and different other things that women go through that men don't go through. Another risk factor is having a low self-esteem. Well, this is also connected with the 4 basic preconditions that we discussed earlier. Having blood relatives with depression. Well, if you grow up in an environment, there is a likelihood that growing up in that kind of atmosphere will lead to depression in the long run. Well, and aside that, medical experts also believe that it could be transferred by DNA, that is genetic. So having blood relatives with depression might also be another cause of depression. Another one is being gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. This is also from data. One of the causes that have been identified, one of the group of people that have been seen as very liable to going through depression. Having other mental health disorders such as anxiety and bipolar disorder is another reason. Abusing drugs or alcohol, having serious or chronic illnesses, taking certain medications like sleeping pills, and also really spoken about is living in a region of the world that has long winter nights and limited sunlight. I actually experienced this myself when I first came to Europe about 11 years ago. I struggled to remain mentally stable after I arrived, and it wasn't funny. I remember traveling home to Nigeria after my first semester in Europe, because all I wanted to see was more sunlight. I just wanted to see sunlight continuously for some days and then travel back. So for many people from our side of the world that don't realize that the hot weather that is a free gift of nature from where we are from is a jewel, this is something you need to take note of. Now before you travel abroad, one of the things you should realize is that relocating might make you susceptible to depression. And if you are abroad and you've realized over time that towards winter period you are very depressed, that's one of the reasons why Caucasians, people from this side of the world, usually travel to warmer climates to avoid winter as much as possible when that is possible.
Sorry, I just want to say something about relocation.
Okay.
You know, so people be prepared if you want to relocate out of Nigeria. Maricha said coming to Nigeria for sunlight. Yes, so if you want, it happens to me anytime we go to Nigeria. Okay, the first time I went to Nigeria, as I stepped down at Murtala Mohammed Airport, or was it Abuja? I can't remember where we landed again. My mood just went up. So that's one of the things you have to be concerned about. People get to Europe or US or whatever, wherever other parts of the world, and they just realize that their moves just crashed. They can't really pinpoint what exactly the problem is. Sometimes it is because of the weather. And a lot of people don't recover. Like they lose it from there. Their moods crash and they begin to embrace vices. You know, stuff like drinking, smoking, womanizing. They cannot go, they can't trace the roots of that, you know, all those vices that they decided to embrace when they got into those countries. So pay attention. The weather can be a cause of depression if you relocate from Nigeria. Be prepared. We are not saying don't travel, because some people will go and quote us now on social media that we are living abroad and we don't want people to know. It's good to relocate, but be prepared that, you know, these are parts of the things that causes depression abroad. Sister Jumoke said something. She said, that's true. It's like a different atmosphere when you touch. Exactly. It's that, in fact, 2019, the last time we went to Nigeria, as I touched down in Abuja like this, you needed to see the way I became extremely excited, as in my mood just, you know, went up from ground zero. So that is one of the things that happens when you know, that is why some people they travel to Nigeria every year. They must travel home in order to receive the sunlight. So that's part of it. Let me allow you to go on. Doctor, let me take myself off the screen. Sorry.
So that's it for risk factors and liabilities. There are also three major modes of transmissions by which depression propagates itself. One of it is pre-existing medical conditions. Some of them it's at birth or at childhood. Some of them are things that people grow into or people find out are medical conditions they have. Some of such conditions include autism, anxiety disorder, mood disorder, eating disorder, dementia, psychotic disorder, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder. These are some pre-existing medical conditions that depression often propagates itself through very easily or from the onset. Another mode of transmission is through your career journey, through your academics, formal education from primary to tertiary to advanced trainings. You often meet people that are probably more intelligent or more different people with different abilities or talents that you don't have. And some of the times it's in the course of these things that the condition called depression transmits itself. And also through our occupational careers, through our professional careers, through the activisms. Therefore, people who are engaged in activism, who are fighting for different causes, you often find barriers and different obstacles that we meet. And some of them bring us to a place where we have that feeling, that sinking depression, that sinking feeling called depression. And some of the times they stay with us for a long time, for a longer while. And we will need something extra to pull us off that channel. Also, the third mode of propagation is relationships. Parental relationships, relationship with siblings, relationship with friends. There are ups and downs within these relationships, relationship with colleagues, with acquaintances, with peers, with academics, relationship with partners. This is with regards to dating or courtship, spousal relationships, family relationship with children. For instance, the burden of taking care of children or raising children. in the West, for instance, without a support system like we have on our side of the world, can bring anyone into a state of depression. Relationship with in-laws, with high expectations, either from you or from your in-laws, some of the times, are some of the modes of transmission of depression. Our business life, business relationships, our professional relationships, our career relationships, our relationships through religious ministries, public
Doctor,
service, advocacy. Yes.
sorry, I just wanted to point something out about relationships and expectations.
All right.
What I learned from that is that in every kind of relationship that we find ourselves, please ditch every kind of expectation. It's a form of defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It's not that we're not going to expect people to be, to be kind to us or to do to us as we are doing to them. But it is safer for you to ditch every kind of expectation so that when people eventually disappoint you, you can rearrange yourself emotionally on time without sinking into depression. So that I just wanted to hammer on that. Please go on. Sorry for interrupting you.
No problem. Also, in our relationships for people engaged in advocacy, I've spoken about activism. It's similar. These are some of the things the ups and downs that we experience with regards to this relationship. Also, in relating with the society, the general society or the communities in which we find ourselves, trying to undo or live based on societal or community expectations is also something that through which depression is propagated. If you live in multiracial environments or multiracial communities, relationship within the communities are some of the modes of propagation of depression. Am I accepted? Am I not accepted? Are these people rejecting me? These are some of the things, some of the issues that propagate depression as a condition. Also, relationship with other gender is a major issue in a world that is still trying to create a good environment or good conditions for gender equality. This is something we still go through or we encounter, or through which depression is often propagated. Very quickly, I would like to go to talk about the push factors or the triggers of depression. What are the things? What are the issues? What are the factors that pushes people into depression? One of it is perfectionism. Perfectionism is obsession with perfection. It's not wrong to have a knack for excellence. That's what makes people successful. But when you are obsessed with perfection, there's a possibility, there is every likelihood you will push yourself into depression. To try to please people, to try to do things to a certain level, and even when you don't have the means or the talent to do some of those things, it's one of the major causes, one of the major push factors of depression. Another is setting unrealistic expectations, having unrealistic expectations of people, of friends, of colleagues, of people around one is a major factor. But when you have these expectations or you're obsessed with perfection and you don't get to this point, you become unsatisfied with yourself, with the things you are doing, and in the process, the sinking feeling comes in. And there's some of the times it comes intermittently, some of the times it has a permanent abode in us because we have chosen not to do away with some of those things. So firstly, I mentioned perfectionism, and the second is like it, unrealistic expectation. The third is obsession with others. When you're obsessed with other people, some of the times you tend to like them more than you like yourself. Even the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself, not love your neighbor more than yourself. So being obsessed with others and being emotionally dependent on them, and they now not being emotionally available to you, either your spouse or your friends, is one of the things that pushes people into depression. Another important thing that pushes people into depression is damaged trust or betrayal of trust. If you trust somebody and they betray you, or your trust become damaged, and fixing that is going to take time. This is some of the things that push people into depression. The next is underachievement or poor results. This might be in your career, in your academics. These are some of the things that pushes people into depression, especially when such people feel they are not meeting up with the expectations of people around them. The next is career dissatisfaction. Career dissatisfaction is some of the things we've mentioned above here: underachievement, unrealistic expectations, perfectionism are some of the things that leads to career dissatisfaction. And when you are dissatisfied with your career, there is a likelihood, a propensity that is going to drive you towards depression. Another factor that drives people towards depression is ingratitude. When you are not being grateful for how far you've gone, for how much you've achieved, not bothering about what you have not achieved, then you bring yourself to a state of depression. This is what many people in life struggle with. Some of them, one of the things, what will pull them out of depression is actually acknowledging that this is how much they've achieved, or this is how far they've gone. And that's what they will need, the impetus they will need to push them to the next level, rather than keeping them in depression or drawing them to a place of depression. And next is sexual dissatisfaction. Some of the times when we live different lives based on different preconditions that we've mentioned before, and we get to a point where the place of succor that we want to seek solace from, we want to seek rest from, is from sexual satisfaction. And when you get to a point where we don't find some of this, when you don't find that satisfaction, that eureka moment from sexual satisfaction, then we come into a place of depression. Another is change of environment or circumstance via relocation or as a result of other forms of adversity. The next is disrupted sleep patterns. This might be as a result of drug use, as a result of relocation, like I mentioned previously, citing myself as an example, and also other forms of adversities. Also, dashed hopes is an important factor that drags people into depression. Dashed hopes, disappointments as a result of which might be marital. It might be that do I still have more time?
Hello, I think we have to round off for today because,
okay.
Or what do you think? Our viewers, can you tell us? I think we have to round off because we're already an hour into the show. But let me go through what you said so far. Some of the push factors of depression. Number one, he mentioned perfectionism. For some of us that we love to be perfect before we can do anything. Oh, before I launch that business or that product, I have to be perfect. I've been there. I've been there some years back. Like everything has to be perfect. I have a picture of how I want it to be before I can launch out. You are shortchanging yourself. Oh. That's a pathway to depression. Because at the end of the day, most of these visions and dreams that we have, there's a timeline to it. So when you are waiting for perfection, that dream or that vision might die. You might not even be able to do it again. Then secondly, he mentioned number two, having unrealistic expectation, maybe in our relationships with our spouse, most especially for women. Some of us women will depend on our spouse to make us happy, to give us satisfaction in every aspect of life. We are not thinking about being happy from the inside by ourselves, doing things that can, satisfy us or make us happy. So that is part of unrealistic expectation, even from parents to children, from children to parents. And there was one time that Madam Praise, Mercy Praise, she's not on Facebook at the moment. She mentioned something about parental abuse. I think she's going to come back on this talk show to talk about it. That children who abuse their parents in old age, when you're supposed to, take care of your parents and they are not there for you. And she was now advocating that parents should, stop expecting some they should cut down their expectations from their children in order to avoid depression in their old age. Then number 3, you mentioned obsession to please people. For some of us that we have been people pleasers in the past, I used to be a people pleaser too. I've been there. It can also cause depression when you are always pleasing people. But however, what you really want to do lies in your heart. But because you love to please other people, you want to bring smiles to other people's face at the detriment of your own joy. It can lead to depression. That is where you see people just, when they've done that for a very long time, then one day they'll just burst out, and people will be wondering that what exactly is the problem. It is because you've triggered depression. You've done things that has accumulated that now became a trigger that led to depression. Then you also mentioned, which other one? Damaged trust. When you trust people, maybe your spouse, your relative, your friends, your colleagues, and they damage your trust. So, all these things just borders on the fact that we have to limit our expectations of others. If you really want to protect your mental health and you want to protect yourself from, sinking into depression, limit your expectation of other people. Have it at the back of your mind that the fact that you are good, or the fact that this is how you treat people, does not mean that people are going to treat you like that. It took me a very long time to understand this. And, I suffered very well. I used to think that it is the way I treat others that others are supposed to treat me. I used to think that it is my mindset towards others, that should be the mindset of other people towards me. Then when I now became exposed to the reality of life, I was devastated. So let us limit our expectations. We were raised from different backgrounds, and we have different kind of nature. We have different arts towards in life. Our arts are not the same. So have it at the back of your mind that people can betray you. People can damage your trust in them. So when you curtail your expectation from other people, you are able to, to escape this depression of a thing. Then you also mentioned something, loving other people more than yourself. The Bible, even like Dr. quoted, he said, the Bible said that love your neighbor as yourself. So if you can't give what you don't have, if you don't love yourself, how do you want to love other people? That means that, it's not balanced. That's the kind of manipulation. Then you also mentioned underachievement of poor results. When you are not achieving the result that you expect. And that is why we are bringing this program next week, Transitional Woman. You have to learn how to move. It is not all what do I call it now? Projects or vision or whatever it is that might end up turning out as we want. Sometimes situations happen. So when things like that happen, instead of sinking into depression or having self-pity, learn how to move. That is why we did the shirt. Madam Rachel, all of you that are here, you know the shirts now. We move and we cover the head. Don't let depression sink you and you begin to gloss over your failure. Just have an analysis, check out what you did wrong or where you failed and adjust, then you move. Don't allow yourself to sink into that depressive state. Then what again? Ingratitude. When we are not grateful for what we have, when you're always peeping into the other person's field, you are not, you want it. I think ingratitude also is as a result of perfectionism. When you want, you want everything to be in a certain way before you can acknowledge the fact that you have been blessed. These are the things that leads to depression. So at this point, sexual dissatisfaction. Sexual dissatisfaction. You said something like when we want succor from let's say in marriage, there's not enough. One of the spouse is not satisfied like they expected. This can also lead to depression, right? Was that what you said, Doctor? Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about, but I think he has to come back some other time because of time. And okay, what again? Who is talking? Okay, Sister Evelyn said, let me put the comments on the screen. We move, we shift. Yes, the shift concept. We move. Don't gloss over. See, there are times that people would even want you to be glossing over your failure. There are some people around you, when they know that you have failed, they want you to sink into that failure mode. They are watching you. They want to see your reaction. Don't give them that satisfaction. You go to the corner of your home or your house, look at it, okay, where have I failed? What did I do wrong? You know, adjust where necessary, and you move, you transition. Don't allow yourself, because it is when you are now glossing over that failure that you now begin to sink into depression. Then you'll not even be able to, you know, to move on or to move on to other things. So, who is there again? Sharp. Maybe please send sharp. All right. Thank you so much, our viewers. Thank you, Dr. Oludunsin Arodudu. It's been amazing having you on this platform today. And we are looking forward to bringing you on the talk show once again. Perhaps maybe you're going to continue this session during the week. If you are chanced, we might, because like we started on the talk show, we're going to be coming, during the week, I'm going to be coming live to upload a video or to come on a live session to take any of these topics about life in general that can make us to live a awesome life. But because the transitional woman is starting next week, doctor might not be able to come on Sunday. So we might have to schedule the next session during the week. What you've had today on this session is just the taste, though. It's just a taste of the main thing itself. We are still taking this depression to another level that is going to, you know, open all our eyes to the hidden secrets of depression as a topic. So thank you very much, Doctor. God bless you. Do you have do you want to say anything to us before before we end the show for today?
That's enough for today.
I'm coming. Let me increase the volume. I don't know what's wrong with the volume of this. Okay.
Yeah, so I said that's enough for today.
That's enough for today. Okay. Thank you so much. We are so grateful to have you on the Today's Women's Discovery Talk Show. And thank you to all our viewers. Please share this video. Let people learn, as in from the explosive section we have had today. You know, Doctor was just taking it bit by bit because of his nature. It's not like me that I will be gesticulating and doing all that. But if you listen to this video from the beginning, there are lots of, he has hit a lot of hidden points about depression. Things I've not even heard before. I've learned it in this video. So please share with your friends, and let's watch out for the part 2 of the topic, because we have not even touched anything today. So thank you, Madam Rachel Amarachi. Thank you for moderating. Evelyn, thank you for coming on the talk show. Sister Jumoke, thank you. Who again is there? I can't see the other people. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for having you on the talk show today. So at this point, we're going to call it a day. Let me just play the advert, one advert, then we round it up totally. Hello and Happy New Year. My name is Oludunsin Arodudu, and I'm the host of the Today's Women's Discovery Talk Show. Come 7th of February 2021, we are bringing a series titled The Transitional Woman. Who exactly is a transitional woman? A transitional woman is a woman who is not afraid to shift a goalpost from one end of the field to another. She's a woman with a winning mindset, and she's very resilient, always ready to move from one point to another in life. Come 7th of February, I and some other women, amazing women with unique story of triumph that can impact, will be starting this program, and it is going to run consecutively every Sunday. The time that we're going to start live streaming on every Sunday is 5 p.m. Nigerian time, 4 p.m. GMT, and 12 p.m. EST. I hope to see you there. Please keep it a date. If you have not liked our Facebook page, the Today's Women's Discovery Talk Show Facebook page, please head over to the comment section and you're going to see the link. Click on that link and click on the like and follow button. If you've not liked our YouTube channel, you're going to see the link in the comment section also. Please click on that link and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, if you are a woman with a unique story of triumph, how you've been able to move from point A to B without allowing yourself to get sucked in and buried, then reach out to me. And if you'd like to share your story on the Today's Woman's Discovery Talk Show, please reach out to me by sending an email to ooainspires@gmail.com or Today's Woman's Discovery Talk Show, todayswomansdiscovery@gmail.com. I hope to see you starting on the 7th of February. Please keep it a date. Thank you and God bless you. Bye. Hello, my name is Oludunsin Arodudu, and I'm the host of the Today's Woman's Discovery Talk Show. On the 7th of February 2021, we are bringing a program, a series per se, titled The Transitional Woman. This program is going to feature some unique women who've got Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye. So have a nice week. God bless you. Thank you for coming on. Bye-bye. That's the end.